Number 3, okay? They're so into that bell.
I'm just giving up my
Sure.
Good morning, everyone. If everybody could take their seats, we can begin this beautiful ceremony. Thank you.
Comes up.
Good morning and welcome. On behalf of the Westover community, I have to say, members of the class of 2020, on a personal note, although having witnessed a number of you interacting already with members of the faculty, past and present, I have to say, for all of us, that I want to say that we are all grateful to be here this morning on this truly a unique day, and that's for once unique, used in the proper grammatical purpose, in your Westover experience, and to be part of this special celebration of you and for you. So thank you. The invocation I will be offering this morning is a variation of a prayer that has been attributed to the American clergyman and activist William Sloane Coffin. May you be blessed by grace, never to sell yourself short. Grace to risk something big for something good. And grace to remember the world is now too dangerous for anything but the truth, and too small for anything but love.
Good morning. I have to say, I am just so happy to be here. I can't get the smile off my face, but I'm also worried I'm going to cry through this whole ceremony, because there's something to me about, especially now that I'm actually here in this space, that feels like the end of one thing and the beginning of something else. And I mean that in a global sense. So it feels really good to have you all back here. When we all left, it was with a sense of fear and uncertainty about the future, and I think there is still some uncertainty out there, but I think it's feeling a lot more hopeful. And in many ways, to me, you all symbolize that hope. So anyway, so now that I've gone totally off my remarks, I have to figure out where I am. So this class, the class of 2020, is the 111th graduating class in Westover's history, and we could not be more thrilled to be here today together to celebrate them. They are resilient, remarkable, and like no other class in Westover's history. They collectively, through an uncharted virtual spring of 2020, persevered. They individually charted their own path through 2 years of college and experiences around the globe. And today, we are back here in this beautiful quad to celebrate them. To the parents, families, and friends of our graduates, I know you are suspended between pride and disbelief. It seems impossible that the child your mind sees is really this accomplished young woman standing in front of you. This is indeed the case, and this is her day. Our task is to celebrate her triumphs. And I think this is probably the only class in Westover history to get 2 graduations. So the first part of the program is the awarding of prizes. On behalf of the faculty and the Board of Trustees, including incoming President of the Board of Trustees, Kim Hoagland, who is here with us today, I am pleased to make these presentations. Although they're not presentations, we're just going to recognize these graduates, and they will stand to get a round of applause. And some of these folks are not in attendance. So to begin, the Departmental Scholarship Prizes for Outstanding Scholarship. The Elizabeth Hosmer Kellogg Prize for Excellence in English goes to Emily Benoit. The Elizabeth Wade White Prize for Excellence in English goes to Ella Paolucci, who is not with us today, but let's give her a round of applause. The Julie P. McClintock Prize for Excellence in French goes to Jemima Munyaragunda, and she is not here, but let's give her a round of applause. The Elizabeth Ross Cushman Prize in Classical Language for Excellence in Latin goes to Cami Hussey. The Linda Summers Smith Prize for Excellence in Spanish goes to Brittany Sencoli. Let's give her a round of applause. She's not here. The William Warren Barber and Elizabeth Barber Higgins 40 Prize for Excellence in History goes to Michaela Labissiere, who's not here, but let's give her a round of applause. The Frederick J. Kingsbury Prize for Excellence in United States History goes to Madeline Seifert. The Jane Wells Cheever Prize for Excellence in Science goes to Lisa Ho. The Julius B. Smith Prize for Excellence in Mathematics goes to Ami Takahashi, who is not here, but let's give her a round of applause. The Francis Sortwell Perry Prize in the History of Fine Arts for Excellence in Art History goes to Ella Paolucci. The Gail Whitney Stir Prize for Excellence in Studio Art goes to Max Van, who's not here. The Music Prize for Excellence in Music and Outstanding Contribution to Music at Westover goes to Lily Gittens. Character Awards. The final prizes recognize some of the personal qualities we believe essential. The Louise Bulkley Dillingham Prize to a student who has exemplified integrity goes to Natalie Kalo. The Westover Parents Association Prize to a senior for valuable contribution to school life goes to Katie Hunter. The Mr. and Mrs. Harry Webster Walker II Community Service Prize to a senior for outstanding service to the wider community goes to Katie Sauter. Katie's not here. And our final prize is the Mary Robbins Hillard Prize to a senior who, through leadership, has shown qualities of initiative, perseverance, and courage. And this goes to Zoe Altuidi. So each year, the senior class chooses one member to speak for the class. And I am once again pleased to introduce Jade Morton Alexander. Jade made tremendous contributions to the Westover community. An outstanding athlete, Jade displayed her endurance and athleticism on our volleyball, squash, and tennis teams throughout her 4 years at Westover School. Academically, she achieved high honors, and her teachers had glowing recommendations about her positive leadership, teamwork, and love of learning. During her time here, Jade made our community a better place through her dedication to her several leadership positions, including class representative, proctor, and WALSA head, which is our Westover African and Latina Student Association. She also made her mark on the future of the school as she captained the senior class fundraising initiatives. Jade fully embraced the opportunities Westover offered. In her junior year alone, she not only attended the Student Diversity Leadership Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, but also studied abroad in Cape Town, South Africa, where she embraced new experiences and climbed to new heights. We are grateful for and in awe of Jade and her commitment to learning, insatiable curiosity, and courage to lead. I am pleased to introduce Jade Morton Alexander as this year's student speaker.
Good morning, friends and family, faculty and staff, underclassmen, alumni, and most importantly, the class of 2020. It's my pleasure to finally welcome you to Westover's 2020 in-person graduation. It has been a long time coming, and I must say, it does feel slightly odd to say that I'm officially having a high school graduation when I'm halfway done with college. But our class is very appreciative of the efforts put together to plan this day for us. Every one of you have made an impact on the graduates who sit here today and the ones who aren't able to join us. I still cannot fully comprehend how I'm standing here before you today and giving yet another graduation speech on behalf of such an amazing class. I cannot understand how time has decided to move so fast, and that not only our time at Westover came to an end just 2 years ago, but also that we are officially juniors in college. One thing I can truly say is that I'm very happy to be standing in front of you all, finally seeing all my lovely graduates sitting pretty in white. I want to start by sharing a quote with you from one of my all-time favorite childhood authors, Dr. Seuss. He said, "Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory." I stand here looking back on 4 years of legacy and memories we have all made together. Years of tears, smiles, laughs, but most importantly, years of love and support for each other. I'm beyond grateful that I get to have an official graduation with my fellow classmates. In the end, I am proud to see how much we have all matured through our years at Westover. Growing up is something we all don't want to do, but however much we don't want to think it is, it's inevitable. I think the hardest part of growing up is not the taxes or the debt, well, at least for now I think that. I think the hardest part is moving on. At different stages of your life, you grow up in some place different. For most of us, we decided to grow up at Westover. It was very hard at first. For boarders, you're moving away from your family and starting to learn how to be independent. For day students, you still have the privilege of going home, but most of your days is spent at Westover. You come into a school with yellow walls and you start to doubt yourself and doubt everything that you have done to get to this moment. But you most definitely question why you decide to come to a school that's painted yellow. But on stepping onto campus the first time, you feel a sense of warmth and community. And in this moment, you might not think it yet, but the school is a place where you belong. The beginning of freshman year is wild. For everyone, the new traditions are different and scary. However, through all of the chaos going on during your first days and weeks at Westover, you learn that you are not the only one going through it. You make friends who are just as scared and confused as you are. Though freshman year was a bit of a chaotic blur, we all assumed that school would only get easier and be full of sunshine and flowers. However, we were proven wrong. Sophomore year, we were exposed to harder classes, more assignments, and common errors, like what's that? And I'm truly sorry for the new people who joined our class sophomore year, because you had the added stress of being in a new community and having no idea what was going on. But one thing I can say is that through the complaints and struggles we had, I became friends with people I would have never expected. We helped each other with classes and made sure to check in on each other. Then came along our sophomore sleepover, the most iconic night of sophomore year. This was the day I truly knew that I loved this class more than anything. Picture this. Red Hall is an absolute mess. There are blankets and pillows everywhere, and plates and cups all over the floor. People are playing What Do You Meme and Uno in the corner. Others are watching Descendants. However, the most important parts of the night were definitely Manhunt and our dance parties. Other students from different classes would pass through Red Hall and look at us as if we were the craziest people on the planet. But that didn't stop us. All that mattered was that we were there together and having fun. Our sleepovers became a new tradition for our class that sadly couldn't happen our senior year, but we gladly got to revive it last summer. By the end of sophomore year, we grew with each other and learned to love each other even more. Then junior year rolled around the corner. It was probably the most exciting year, but also the most nerve-wracking one. We were also focused on our academics and getting good grades, but we still made sure to prioritize our friends and classmates. We spent weeks working and perfecting our great Dorcas fair. Even though it felt like we were painting for what seemed like years, it was one of the few times our entire class could get together and hang out. We would kill time by listening to music, sharing stories, and making bracelets with each other. We learned what it finally meant to be upperclassmen. The junior sleepover came around. Along with the annual dance parties, movie watching, and Manhunt, we made some new memories. The best moment of the night was definitely Avery debuting as Fergie. Another year quickly wrapped up. Again, we grew more and learned to love each other even harder. Senior year, the final countdown, the final piece of the class of 2020's puzzle. When coming on campus for the first time during senior year, I still could not believe it was my last. Wearing my blue senior shirt obviously meant something for other people, but for me, it still felt like my time at Westover wasn't coming to the end. The shirt was just another piece of clothing that fit the dress code. It still had not kicked in that this was our graduating year and I wouldn't be spending all my time at this school. The traditions we were once confused about during freshman year suddenly became clear. Underclassmen looked up to us, we sang until we lost our voices, we saw pretty lights in the water, and we made some of the last traditions we had together great. Whoever knew growing up would happen so fast? Whoever knew that our time would get cut short and our spring break goodbyes would be our last? If I had known that that was true, I would have hugged people a little tighter and most likely cried on the spot. I would have reminisced on my time at Westover a little longer and taken time to be in the moment. Senior year was definitely the year we all matured and got wiser. We learned to love each other to the fullest. Every year, our class got new students and we welcomed them with open arms. They became a part of our fun, crazy, and special family. This class proved it true that the number of years that you have been friends does not matter as much as the bonds you have made with people. Now back to Dr. Seuss's words. Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. Class of 2020, close your eyes and think about one of your favorite moments in those past 4 years that you'll never forget. Relive it and cherish it. Consider the value of that moment and think about why it was your favorite. Because of the impact of COVID-19, some of us probably feel as if our class puzzle is not complete, or perhaps we feel as if our last puzzle piece does not fit. Hopefully, this in-person graduation gives us the closure we have been looking for the past 2 years. Let us be grateful for our privilege and remember those who may have lost their homes, jobs, family members, or friends. This is a piece of our history. Our class will go down in the books. We are the class of many firsts, and that is a part of our story. Even though during this tough time, the class of 2020 gave me a beacon of hope. Shortly, we will officially become Westover alums, again. When I was younger, I desperately wanted to be a grown-up, but still, I wish I were a little kid again during this moment. As I said earlier, I think the hardest part of growing up is moving on. We all had an established routine at Westover and it changed. We no longer see familiar faces, we aren't in the same classes as each other, and we don't have the same traditions. But let us never forget that we are family, so let's cherish each other. Westover will always and always has been a home to each and every single one of us. As you continue to go beyond Westover, college, and go on life as adults, I want you to remember that you all have unforgettable personalities, smiles, laughs, even sneezes and burps, which make you unique. That's why this class works so well together. We learned together and progressed together. We respected each other and looked out for each other. We treat each other like siblings. Yeah, we had some little arguments here and there, but that still did not change the fact that we are a wholesome class and that we are made for each other. So I know this isn't really a traditional graduation speech, and since it has been 2 years since we were here, I would think you would like to hear some updates and accomplishments about our lives. I gathered some information about the class of 2020 and what they have all been doing since leaving Westover. I will preface this by saying that they have some major accomplishments. So starting off with Zoe. Zoe will be interning at Minard Capital this summer with Westover alums Rachel Menard and Sarah Marr, truly spiriting Westover forevermore. Sophia took a gap year, and during that time, she worked as a ranch hand on a horse ranch and worked as a live-in nanny. Cecilia became the vice president of her sorority Phi Mu Theta at FGCU. Emily has become adjusted to being an adult in a new country. She has her own apartment, cat, job, and has even paid taxes for 2 countries. Megan got her first job doing vaccine development, which is pushing her in the direction of what she hopes to actually do in the future. Brittany got a job for the summer interning at a law firm. Natalie has been excelling in her writing, and she's proud of her ability to be herself and step out of her comfort zone. She's not afraid to ask teachers for help and extend a hand to those who need it. Haley learned a lot about her mental health and began doing what it takes to have a mentally healthy college career. Eliana exceptionally passed Chem 1 and 2. Lily joined a sorority at Dickinson, and within a semester of joining was elected president of Dickinson's Panhellenic Council. Annie celebrated Christmas and New Year's in the US for the first time. Lisa got her first dog during summer 2020. Katie Hunter got accepted to a research program this summer studying black holes at MIT's observatory. Cami was voted on the GW Shakespeare Company board and was chosen to direct a show in the fall. Mia made it into the National Honor Society. Kara interned at a psychiatric hospital for 10 weeks last summer. Julia studied abroad for a semester in London and traveled around Europe. Olivia declared a Spanish minor, and she's publishing 3 poems that she has translated. She's also doing her own research exploring health disparities. Avery has decided she wants to specialize within her major in computer animation, more specifically in rigging. Julianne has been reading for fun more often. Marianella got a summer internship on Wall Street as a software engineer. Maddie got a job at Manhattan College's history department. Kayla's work ethic has improved, as well as her motivation to do better. Finally, me. Tufts has been a wild 2 years. I've been able to work on some cool research projects, such as working with the president of Tufts on a research project about DNA and RNA and co-authoring a paper with him. Also working in David Kaplan's lab, developing a human skin model where I learned how to suture and train other students. All of this has helped me secure my internship at NYU Med School this summer to work on a research project for my dream job in cardiology. I promised that none of us would say that we would have been able to accomplish this without our Westover experience. With that, I want to say thank you to the Westover faculty and staff who have pushed us to our limits and who have shaped us into the young people we are today. Thank you for being unique and caring. Thank you for providing a safe haven and home for us for our high school years. I want to give an especially big shout out to Carrie, who has been the best person to reach out to and not only helped us organize our graduation today, but also our sleepover last summer. The class of 2020 is truly grateful for all you have done. Thank you to all the family and friends who are here to celebrate us today. You have been by our sides through thick and thin, and even though we might not say it every day, we truly do love and appreciate you all. Specifically, I want to say thank you to my mother. Being a single mom is hard, but being a single mother to a child named Jade is nearly impossible. Everything I do is to make you proud and to make it known that I'm your daughter. Sorry. And lastly, to the class of 2020. I'm still to this day very thankful for you for picking me as your graduation speaker. I'm happy that I got to stand here and speak in front of actual people and not a computer screen. I'm honored to know that I've been a part of a wonderful class, and in my opinion, the best class that has ever stepped on Westover's campus. Just my opinion, no shade, y'all. You all have a very special place in my heart, and I couldn't imagine any other people I would want to pull this off with. As always, just know that if you ever need a helping hand, a familiar face, a person to cry to, or anything at all, that we are all just a text, FaceTime call, maybe a Zoom call, a car ride, or a walk away from each other. This bond we have is everlasting, and not even Corona can break it. In actuality, it maybe brought us closer. I still miss seeing your faces every day during our sleepovers, complaining with each other, and sharing all our funny, serious, and sad moments. You all are amazing human beings, and I'm so glad to call you my family. I know that our senior spring was not ideal, but truly, I don't think any other class could have persevered and gotten through this better than we have. You're all unique, kind, passionate, and successful people, and the world is not ready for you. Keep that same personality as you go on through the remainder of college and officially go beyond the yellow walls. However, just know that these yellow walls are always here to protect you. This place is your home. Those sitting next to you are your home. I am happy to say this is finally the closure we wanted, and I can sleep peacefully tonight knowing that I got to share this special tradition with you all. I'm going to end by quoting something that Corky emailed us before we graduated in 2020 that I want to emphasize. Our class supports one another, cares deeply, works hard, and plays hard, and rises to challenges with determination and grace. We know how to have fun and laugh. Keep listening to your inner voices, honor your truths. Again, I love you all. Thank you on behalf of the class of 2020 for great years, and thank you for bringing us back one last time. Once again, and for the final time, JD out.
thank you, Jade. And I want to say that you always struck me, and I'll say this in my remarks later too, you have such a generosity of spirit as a class, and I feel like, Jade, taking some of your time to highlight what is going on with your classmates, I think just demonstrates that care you all have for each other, and I find it very moving. So thank you. Thank you so much, Jade. So now I am pleased to introduce this year's graduation speaker, Tamara Gary. Tamara was Westover's Associate Director for Admissions and Squash Coach from 2017 to 2021. She was also the Class of 2020 Senior Dean, walking them through the twists and turns of their final year. It is only appropriate she joins us today for their final Westover tradition. Welcome back, Tamara.
Jade, you almost made me cry over there. I can't cry before I start. Hello, Westover class of 2020. It is an honor to be here in front of you today as your in-person commencement speaker. I could not have asked for a more exciting event for which to return. Seeing your faces makes me beam. You have no idea how excited I am and how much love I have for each of you. As I look upon your faces, I'm reminded of your hysterical Heads Holiday video when you went to West Farms Mall dressed in the traditional Westover unis. I'm reminded of that time the varsity squash team during New England's in Deerfield, Mass. Squeezed into a hotel room to play the most intense game of Mafia I've ever seen. I'm reminded of watching captivating musicals like Romeo and Juliet and The Drowsy Chaperone, shows in which many of you starred. I'm reminded of our ambassador program, which many of you led and participated in confidently and enthusiastically. And you can't forget those riveting volleyball games with that crazy coach of yours. This class consisted of leaders, activists, athletes, and actresses. And of course, I'm reminded of the astounding resilience each of you demonstrated in your senior spring, as you, while grieving the traditions you would miss, still mustered up all the hope and determination you could in order to create a virtual graduation worth remembering. You all, Westover class of 2020, have a dear place in my heart. When asked to be your speaker, I immediately thought to myself, what is it that I can possibly say that would be impactful, and why me? And of course, am I good enough? So yes, I am the age I am admitting to you that I still have imposter syndrome. I don't know why I share this other than the fact that it's honest and it's who I am, and that's what I've come to realize. All anybody probably wants from me is my honest, authentic self. So here I am today, not as your class dean or your squash coach or your advisor. I'm here as your colleague and your friend. I will be sharing with you today 3 personal stories of mine and what I've learned from them. It's something I wish I knew when I was your age. Growing up in Exeter, New Hampshire, underneath the bathroom mirror, we had a small white index card with my mother's slanted handwriting. It was our family Bible verse, which each member in my family can probably still recite to this day. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not unto your own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. It's Proverbs 3:5-6. For context, my family attended church 3 times a week, twice on Sundays and once on Wednesdays. Everyone has their go-to mantra, right? And it just so happens that Proverbs 3:5-6 became mine. I would repeat it in my mind and sometimes out loud during times of confusion and frustration. But over the years, my interpretation of this mantra has changed. The word path used to mean safe and simple. But as I've grown up, safe and simple did not seem to fit. In fact, I did not want it to. Those words seemed limiting, singular, and boring. I also used to think if that path wasn't simple, then was I not trusting enough in my faith? I think regardless of what we put our beliefs in, we all have a tendency to assume that when things don't go as planned, it's because we did something to deserve it. We try to look for the culprit. But what if what we perceive as being wrong in the moment is not at a cost to us, but a benefit? Maybe our path isn't meant to be straight, without a bend or curve. For the longest time, I defined the word path within the parameters of society's expectations. For instance, society tells us that you go to college, get a career, find a husband, buy a home, expand your family. This was the path I assumed my mantra was referring to. And I assumed that if I were not on this path, it was as a result of not being faithful. In fact, by those standards, I would be damned. No husband, no kids, no home, which I own. So what was I supposed to make of all of this? I've come to realize 3 things within the last few years. The first being that one's path is not meant to be paved and straight. My first bend in my path took place my senior year of college, when I applied early decision to my college and got accepted, only to find out that I could not attend. My parents said they couldn't afford the school just yet, and that I would have to take a gap year. Given what we just endured these last 3 school years with COVID, it's almost comical to admit how this, taking a gap year, was a devastating moment for me at the time. In hindsight, though, that gap year was pivotal. It gave me perspective. I didn't take college for granted. I was academically focused, excited to learn and work for myself and invest in my passion for music. When the opportunity arose to study abroad in Amman, Jordan, despite being extremely shaky in the language, I showed up. When the school needed student performers for reunion weekend, I showed up. When the Africana Center needed volunteers to advise freshmen, I showed up. Regardless of what you call it, a speed bump or a wide turn, my gap year, though it felt wrong in the moment, served me well. The second point I want to make to you all today is that we shouldn't aspire to do anything on our own. Remember in elementary school when you had your one teacher for all your subjects, and in middle school you had your homeroom teacher, and in high school and college you have your advisor, albeit your college advisor comparatively is a little more distant at times, but present. This structure of having an advisor throughout your academic career is not by accident. We do our college graduates a disservice by telling them after they graduate that they're ready to be on their own. Why is that something we strive for? My mantra reminds me of this: lean not unto my own understanding. And yet it did not sink in for me until the winter of 2021, when a mentor came into my life. A mentor is someone who you talk to routinely. It's not your best friend per se. You set monthly goals with them and they hold you accountable to those goals. It's exhausting sometimes. Now I know what you're all thinking. I have my parents for that. That's what they're there for. Yes, you do have your parents. But in addition to your parents who inherently mentor you, it's important that you connect with an experienced colleague in the field in which you aspire to grow. In February 2021, my dad connected me to a colleague and asked her if she would be interested in mentoring me. Mentoring is intentional. For me, it was a 20-minute conversation on the phone once a month for 5 months. By the 4th month, we went from talking about researching programs for my professional development to celebrating my acceptance to grad school, another part of my path that I never thought I'd be interested in pursuing. And girl, I am glad I did. I share all this to say I was more efficient in those 4 months with her as my mentor than I had been in the 4 years prior without a mentor. Think about it. How does anyone get better at anything Professional athletes have coaches. As students, you have teachers and professors. Adulthood doesn't have to mean leaving that mentorship structure behind. That's how we direct our path. The third and final point I want to leave you with is the realization that your path doesn't have to be singular. Some of you might be taking a class outside of your major that inspires you to double major. Some of you might be questioning the major you're in. If you are, great, that's normal. I've been there too. Who says you can only have one career, one passion, one interest? Embrace the journey of multiple possible paths with joy. And when there is no joy, create it for yourself. Each of you did that very well. I remember your graduation Caravan celebration like it was yesterday. Faculty outlined the parking lot. Students handed gifts to faculty from their car windows and from the bed of trucks. I think I got a bottle of wine from the Kalo's car. Even though you all were on Zoom, you still threw yourselves a virtual senior skip day. You could have given up on coming together in any way that spring. You could have postponed your graduation altogether, but you didn't. And now, after today, you're the only class that can boast that you had not one, but 2 high school graduations. That your class came together for 2 reunions even before your 5th. There will be times when you question why something unplanned is happening to you. There will be times when the bend in the road feels wrong. Well, class of 2020, it might take some time to see the benefits of your unique path, but I encourage you to seek joy, find your team of mentors, and embrace the curves and speed bumps. From where I stand, I can already see a grit, a resilience, and fervor and determination for living in the present and saying yes to new opportunities. I can see deep bosom friendships that will last generations. You might not see it yet, and that's fine. But I promise you that in hindsight, you'll see all that you've gained. Thank you.
Okay, you can have the first row stand. All right, we got it. Zoe Rehana Atasime Dako Altuidi. Kara Suleiman Khalife. Catherine Grace Hunter. Natalie Marie Kalo. Avery Susan Pendleton. Marianella Edith Salinas. Emily Caroline Benoit. and Jade Alexis Morton Alexander. Beautiful, like we rehearsed it. Haley Nicole Cronin. Camille Elizabeth Hussey. Madeline Stella Seifert. Eliana Iris Dunn. Kayla Surjanoth. Mia Alexandria Izzy. Tsi Ho. And Jaron Annie Gao. Sophia Grace Angera. Olivia Carmela Pandisha. Julianne Fraser Purvis. Julia Claire Mariano. Lillian Hunter Gittens. Megan Jewel Bettino. And Ching Li. I would also like to recognize those members of the class not in attendance today. Please hold your applause until the end. Mary Grace Aarons. Cecilia Claire Beard. Brittany Sincoli. Andia Demirage. Paula Fernandez Jimenez Arellano. Yijin Guo. Ji Yan Huan. Casey Samantha Ingerson. Risa Kawaji. Michaela Gabrielle Labissiere. Danny Lynette Lewis. Andrea Mardigan Montezuma. Jamima Munyarunda. Chen Chen Nu. Ella Blake Palucci. Chi Fan. Sarah Pino, Jaron Chian, Olivia Racebeck, Katarina Irene Sauter, Mickey Shi, Julia Elizabeth Stout, Ami Takahashi, and Max Van. It is now my pleasure and honor to present the class of 2020 yet again.
All right. Sorry, our papers are a little confused here. I'm just gonna, okay. I found it. So now we're ready to come towards the end of our ceremony. I always have the unenviable task of being the last speaker in terms of, you know, after the throwing of the rose petals, I feel like everyone wants to go celebrate. But I get to have a few words first. So before I begin, I just wanted to let you know that the closing ceremony, which happens after the benediction and the school anthem, takes place on the athletic field behind me. This ceremony, our senior graduation circle, is a tradition as old as the school. The circle you see is an image of unity and community, of wholeness and belonging, and it is unique to Westover. The best vantage point is from the arcade of the Louise Dillingham Performing Arts Center. To get there, exit to my left. The ceremony can also be seen from the embankment directly behind me. Please take your belongings with you as the chairs will be picked up for the final part of today's ceremony. And I also invite you all to join us for brunch in the tent out on the field immediately following the ceremony. And I also have to say, I just want to comment on the fact today. So, because usually we have usually the seniors would go show their shoes to the students to get approval. And I just want to say I applaud your independent choices and the range of colors. So, again, another first, I think, probably in the history of Westover, seeing like orange, red shoes. I love it. So, rock on. So finally, to the senior class. Through no fault of your own, you were faced with a world turned upside down at a scale never before experienced in recent memory. You had to sacrifice rites of passage and have a college experience impacted that you had dreamed about and planned for years. I had a conversation with an alum yesterday about how difficult it has been for all of us to grapple with this loss of control created by the pandemic. Her response was that it makes us realize that pandemic or no pandemic, all we can do is choose how we show up, which I always find it interesting. No matter what I write in solitude, it always seems to connect with what some of the other speakers talk about. And I loved it that Tamara also talked about just how you show up. This is a small but mighty insight. And during the spring of 2020, you demonstrated what it meant to show up with compassion, inclusion, and open-heartedness, despite heartbreak. And I say heartbreak not to be dramatic, but I know I, for one, was heartbroken that your senior spring was taken from you. But you all made the best of it. I mean, just like what Tamara said. And in some ways, you created new traditions that will live on. So that's also a gift. And as Tamara said, sometimes these bumps in the road reveal opportunities that we never could anticipate. And in life, it is the small gestures, the small decisions, the choices we make every day that is what makes us the people we are. In the spring of 2020, Before we understood this virus at all, wearing the mask was a gesture like that. It was to keep us both safe and to demonstrate to others that we were committed to keeping each other safe. And then those are the people we are when push comes to shove and the pressure is on, and it really matters how we behave. That is the definition of integrity. That is something you showed in spades. Crisis doesn't shape character, it reveals it. And the character of this class has inspired me repeatedly throughout this challenging time. This is a class that is generous of spirit. You will always have choices about whether to throw your arms open wide to the whole world or fold them up tight. You can invite everyone to the party or not. But I also have to add, as women, while I am advocating that you include everyone in your celebration, you don't have to cater the party, wait on everyone, and make sure everyone has the party favor of their dreams. It is not about pleasing everyone, and I would also advocate that you will bring more people together when you are clear on where your boundaries stop and others begin. And I will say that one of the other moving things about this class is I think that their generosity to each other was all rooted in the fact that felt good to them, and then they were able to share that love. It was very genuine and authentic. So create the conditions for love. What I am talking about contains so much heart that it doesn't even matter if somebody likes you or not. What does matter is that your beautiful and generous humanity is evident and undeniable. And that every day, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you know you have moved forward as your best self. Class of 2020, you have the great gift of having been challenged and choosing love over fear, to be faced with an unpleasant reality, but to choose hope over cynicism. Your hearts have an unlimited capacity for growth. Westover women, keep embracing love, keep embracing hope, and keep embracing your light. And now I'd like to bring Rich Beebe back to the podium for the benediction. Please stand.
I should note that today's benediction will be somewhat familiar to you and to those folks behind me. It's a poem that has been read a number of times as part of our traditions in recent years. And it struck me as I was reading this that greater truths can sometimes be found in words that have always felt familiar, and that new meaning because of events like the last 2 years can be found in these familiar words. It is a poem called Benacht by the poet John O'Donohue. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays and the currach of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so, may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. Okay, this is where I'm supposed to cue folks for the singing of the school anthem. It can be found on the words can be found on the back of your programs. And I hope that you guys sing it loud and drown me out. Okay, on the count of 3, where's Bob Havery when you need him? On the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Praise now to Westover, voices loud and clear to thee. With loyal hearts we raise our cheer. Praise to the skies above, and praise the school we love. Westover forevermore, we sing to thee. Now